We're looking for virality. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think we're looking at Caitlin Clark's ad being one of the more viral things we've seen in a long time. Like if you look at the Instagram post on Nike, as far as I'm aware, the Instagram post has like 30 million views.
Caitlin Clark's new Nike ad just broke the internet in a way that has her rivals absolutely panicking. The commercial hit 30 million views on Instagram in just 2 days, making it one of Nike's most viral posts ever. Other WNBA players are watching this rollout and realizing the gap between them and Clark just got even wider. What this ad reveals about the current state of women's basketball is brutal.
And the fact is that this is only in 2 days. It is the 27th. The reality is that you could be looking at upwards of 40, 50 million views on this post.
Have you ever watched someone in your field get so much recognition that you started questioning your own relevance? Comment below, because that's exactly what's happening to WNBA players right now as they watch Caitlin Clark's Nike campaign absolutely dominate social media in ways they've never experienced.
So, since Caitlin Clark's very first reveal, 22.4 million views. Between the Caitlin Clark logo reveal and this Caitlin Clark video, the only Instagram videos from Nike that have more views is
So Caitlin Clark's Nike ad just became one of the most viral sports marketing campaigns we've seen in years. And if you're another WNBA player watching this happen, you've got to be feeling some type of way about it. The Instagram post on Nike's official page has over 30 million views in just 2 days. 30 million. That's not normal. That's not standard athlete endorsement numbers. That's cultural phenomenon territory. Let's put that number in perspective because it matters. Since Caitlin Clark's logo reveal, the only Nike Instagram videos that have gotten more views are a post about the Dodgers and Shohei Ohtani winning the championship and a post about the Brazilian women's football team that hit 100 million views. That's the company Clark is in right now. She's not competing with other WNBA players for engagement. She's competing with World Series champions and Olympic gold medalists. That gap is massive.
Hey, Caitlin! Can you make it from there? Hey, Caitlin, how about from here?
Come on, guys.
Yeah, she can't make it from there. No chance.
Caitlin, conmigo, let.
You got it. I'm not even gonna ask.
Hey, Caitlin, from here might be impressive. Am I right?
The ad has only been out for 2 days. 2 days. And it's already at 30 million views on Instagram alone. When you factor in all the other platforms, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, everywhere else this thing is being shared, you're looking at probably 50 million total views across social media. That level of virality for a product launch is basically unheard of. Nike has had viral campaigns before, but this is hitting different. This is reaching audiences that typically don't care about basketball at all.
From right here.
From there!
From anywhere.
All right, well, looks like she can do it.
Here's what makes this particularly brutal for Clark's rivals in the WNBA. Nike's Winning Isn't For Everyone campaign, which was a major push featuring multiple athletes, only has 15 million views. Clark's shoe announcement ad has double that in less time. Nike is putting more promotional weight behind Caitlin Clark's signature shoe than they put behind campaigns featuring multiple superstars across different sports. That tells you everything about where they think the value is. And you can't even argue that this is just Nike being good at marketing. Yes, Nike knows how to make viral content, but they make tons of content. Most of it doesn't hit 30 million views in 48 hours. The reason this ad is performing at this level is because Caitlin Clark has an audience that other WNBA players simply don't have. That's not opinion. That's measurable fact based on engagement numbers. The brutal reality that other WNBA players are facing is this. Social media engagement doesn't always translate to real-world impact. There are hundreds of thousands of fans who claim to stand various WNBA players online. They post about them constantly. They defend them in comment sections. They create fan accounts dedicated to them. But when game time comes, those fans aren't actually watching. The viewership numbers don't match the social media noise. Caitlin Clark is the opposite. Her social media engagement directly translates to people watching games. When she plays, viewership spikes. When she's injured and not playing, ratings drop. The correlation is undeniable. People who follow her online actually show up to watch her play basketball. That's the difference between real fandom and performative fandom. And it's a difference that's worth hundreds of millions of dollars to leagues and brands. Here's the part that has to sting if you're another WNBA player. Clark is the player they tried to say only got attention because of hype and media coverage rather than actual basketball skill. She's supposedly the player who is overrated, who got preferential treatment, who didn't deserve all the attention she received. And yet, she's the one with fans who actually watch basketball games. The players who are supposed to be the real stars have social media followings that don't translate to eyeballs on actual games. Team USA played in half-empty arenas during the last Olympics. Half-empty. These were supposed to be the best players in the world, representing their country on the biggest stage in sports, and people couldn't be bothered to show up. But when Caitlin Clark makes the roster for the next major international competition, those venues are going to be packed. People are already planning trips to watch her play. That's the difference. That's what actual star power looks like. The cultural relevance argument is interesting, too. Will Caitlin Clark ever be more culturally relevant than she was in 2024? Probably not. Last year was her peak in terms of being everywhere in the cultural conversation. But here's the thing. Even if 2024 was her absolute peak of cultural relevance, her current level of relevance is still higher than any other women's basketball player has ever achieved. She could drop off significantly from where she was and still be the biggest star in women's basketball by a considerable margin. And that's what has to be terrifying for her rivals. They're not competing with 2024 Caitlin Clark. They're competing with 2025 Caitlin Clark, who's supposedly past her peak of cultural relevance, and she's still getting 30 million views on a shoe commercial in 2 days. If this is her declining from peak relevance, what chance do other players have of ever catching up? The Nike investment in Clark also signals something important to other players in the league. Nike really needs Caitlin Clark right now. The brand has been struggling relative to competitors, and they've identified Clark as someone who can move the needle for them commercially. They're not investing at this level in other women's basketball players. They gave Paige Buer a logo that people are calling the trash can logo online. The disparity in how Nike is treating Clark versus other women's basketball stars is stark and public. Other WNBA players watching this have to be wondering what they need to do differently. They're out here grinding, posting on social media, building their personal brands, trying to engage fans, and then Caitlin Clark drops one commercial and gets more engagement in 48 hours than most of them get in a year. That's demoralizing. That makes you question whether you'll ever be able to compete for that level of attention. The social media savvy that many WNBA players have is supposed to be their advantage over male athletes in similar positions. Women's sports stars are often more engaged on platforms like Instagram and TikTok, more accessible to fans, more willing to show personality and vulnerability online. That's supposed to be what sets them apart and helps them build followings. But Caitlin Clark isn't even particularly active on social media compared to her peers, and she's still destroying everyone in terms of engagement. Her advantage isn't online, it's on the court. People want to watch her play basketball, and that interest then translates to engagement with any content related to her. The fact that this ad is one of the most viral sports marketing launches ever also raises the stakes for the actual shoe release in spring 2026. Nike has set expectations incredibly high. If this shoe doesn't deliver commercially after this level of promotion, it'll be considered a failure even if it sells well by normal standards. But if it does deliver, if it sells out immediately, if it generates 9-figure revenue like some analysts are predicting, then we're looking at a paradigm shift in women's sports endorsements. Other WNBA players have signature shoes. Some of them are good products that serve players well, but none of them have launched with this level of cultural impact. None of them have had campaigns featuring Travis Kelce, Jason Kelce, and Travis Scott. None of them have gotten 30 million Instagram views in 2 days. The gap between Clark's launch and everyone else's is so wide that it's creating a tier system where she's essentially in a category by herself. Let's talk about what this means for the economics of the WNBA. Clark accounted for 27% of the league's total economic impact in 2024 while playing only 13 games due to injury. One player generated more than a quarter of the entire league's economic value while missing significant time. That's unprecedented leverage. And now she's launching a signature shoe that's expected to generate 9-figure revenue. The wealth gap between Clark and other WNBA players is about to expand dramatically. This creates tension within the league because players are supposed to be advocating for better collective bargaining agreements and salary increases for everyone. But when one player is making generational wealth from endorsements while others are fighting for salary increases of a few thousand, it becomes harder to maintain solidarity. Clark's individual success is great for her, but it exposes how far behind everyone else is in terms of marketability and earning potential. The international expansion angle is also significant. Clark mentioned plans to visit China to inspire young athletes there. Nike is positioning her as a global ambassador for women's basketball, not just a domestic star. That's another level that other WNBA players haven't reached. Having international recognition and appeal opens up revenue streams and opportunities that simply don't exist if you're only known in the United States. Clark is building a global brand while her rivals are still trying to build national recognition. Here's what's probably most frustrating for other players. Clark isn't even trying to outshine everyone else. She's not being calculated about stealing spotlight or undermining her competitors. She's just playing basketball and doing endorsement deals. And the natural result is that she's lapping everyone in terms of visibility and commercial success. It's not manufactured drama or intentional rivalry. It's just the market responding to what it values, and the market has decided it values Caitlin Clark more than any other women's basketball player by an enormous margin. The from anywhere messaging in the ad also perfectly captures Clark's appeal. It's not just about making long shots on a basketball court. It's about the idea that you can come from anywhere, a driveway in Iowa, a small market, outside the traditional basketball pipeline, and still make it to the highest levels. That aspirational messaging resonates with people in a way that generic be great or work hard messaging doesn't. Nike nailed the branding, and it's going to sell a lot of shoes. Looking at the view counts compared to other major Nike posts, it's clear this isn't just performing well, it's an outlier. Most Nike content doesn't hit these numbers. Even posts featuring multiple superstars across different sports don't reach this level of engagement this quickly. The ad is punching above the weight class of normal athletic endorsement content and competing with major cultural moments. That's what happens when you have someone who's transcended their sport and become a genuine mainstream cultural figure. The timing of all this is also perfect for Nike and brutal for everyone else. The 2026 WNBA season is when Clark will presumably be fully healthy and dominating again. The shoe launches in spring 2026, right as the season is starting. Nike will have maximum visibility for the product during the period when interest in women's basketball peaks. Other players will be competing for attention during a season where the marketing landscape is completely dominated by Caitlin Clark and her signature shoe launch. Good luck getting your own endorsements and sponsorships when all the oxygen in the room is being consumed by the Clark shoe rollout. Caitlin Clark's Nike ad hitting 30 million views in 2 days isn't just good marketing. It's proof that the gap between her and every other WNBA player in terms of marketability is massive and growing. Other players can't compete with these numbers, and they're watching their own relevance shrink in real time. Hit that like button and subscribe for more WNBA content that tells the truth.